Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are going to be tackling a little coding mystery, one that you might have bumped into yourself if you've been working with functions and on MousePress.
Yeah, it's a really common one that trips people up, especially when they're first starting out.
For sure. And to get to the bottom of it, we're diving into some excerpts from a coding tutorial designed for high school students.
It's a great resource for learning the fundamentals, and it's got this really interesting example that we're going to break down today.
Exactly. It all starts with a pretty straightforward challenge, right? You got to make a red circle turn blue when you click on it.
Seems simple enough.
Yeah, totally. But here's where things get a little funky. The code looks like it works. You click the circle, bam, it changes color, mission accomplished.
But hold on a sec. If you actually use your debugging tools and take a closer peek, you'll find something unexpected. There are actually two circles.
Wait a minute, two circles? I thought we were just changing the color of the one.
Right. That's what makes it so tricky. It's not that the first circle magically transforms. It's more like a new circle just pops up right on top of it.
Oh, so that's why it looks like it's working. But it's actually doing something totally different behind the scenes.
Exactly. And this is why it's so important to not just rely on what you see on the screen, but to really dig into the code and understand how it's working.
Okay, I'm officially intrigued. So how do we crack this two-circle conundrum? What's the secret sauce?
This is where the awesomeness of variables comes in. Imagine them like little containers in your code's memory where you can store all sorts of information.
Gotcha. So instead of just creating a circle with the code, we would give it a name and store it in a variable.
Exactly. Think of it like giving your circle a label so you can easily find it later. And once you have that variable, you can use it to access and tweak the circle's properties directly, like its color, its position, you name it.
I see. So instead of making a brand new circle every time we click, we're actually just modifying the original one.
Precisely. And this is how we can solve that two-circle mystery.
This is making so much sense. But the tutorial mentions something about different types of variables, global and local. What's the deal with those?
Great question. It's all about scope, which is basically where a variable can be accessed and used. Global variables are like superstars. Everyone knows them. They can be accessed from anywhere in your code.
Okay, I get that. And then what about local variables?
Local variables are more like hometown heroes. They're only recognized within a specific function, kind of like they have a VIP pass for a certain area.
Interesting. So in our circle example, which type of variable would be the MVP?
Well, it really depends on how you want to structure your code. If you need to use the circle in different parts of your program, a global variable might be the way to go.
Gotcha. So it's more accessible.
Right, but if you're only dealing with the circle within a specific function, like on mouse press, then a local variable might be a better fit.
It's all about picking the right tool for the job.
Exactly. And as you get more comfortable with coding, you'll develop a knack for knowing when to use each type of variable.
Cool. But there's this warning in the tutorial that really caught my eye. It says to use globals sparingly. Why is that? I mean, they seem pretty handy.
They can be, but imagine a program with a ton of global variables all over the place. It can get really confusing and hard to manage, especially as your programs get bigger and more complex.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. It would be like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Exactly. It's like having way too many cooks in the kitchen. Things can get messy real quick.
So it sounds like it's best to be mindful about how we use global variables and maybe stick with local variables whenever possible.
That's a good rule of thumb. Plus, debugging is way easier when you can pinpoint where your variables are coming from. It helps you track down any unexpected behavior more efficiently.
This is super helpful. I'm already starting to see how understanding variables can make our code cleaner and more organized.
Absolutely. And the best part is once you grasp these concepts, you can unlock the power to create all sorts of interactive elements in your programs.
Now that's what I'm talking about. The tutorial also dives into an example where, like, clicking the mouse moves the circle to that spot, where you clicked, and it uses C.center_X and C.center_Y to actually, like, change the circle's position.
Yeah, it's really cool because it shows how variables can control an object's, properties in real time, like dynamically.
Right. It's not just about changing colors anymore. We're actually moving things around based on, where the user clicks.
Exactly. And this idea, using variables this way, you can apply this to so many different things in interactive design. Like think about games where objects respond to key presses or animations where shapes like morph and transform over time.
Oh, that's awesome. Speaking of testing your knowledge, the tutorial throws in a challenge that really makes you think about variables and functions. They present a few code blocks and ask you to figure out which one will correctly move the circle horizontally with each click, but keep it at the same vertical position.
Ah, yeah, that's a great one. It really helps solidify your understanding of how variables and functions work together. You got to think about what changes with each click and what stays the same.
Right. So which variable controls the horizontal position and which one controls the vertical position? It's like a little coding puzzle.
Exactly. And remember, the process of working through these challenges is just as important as getting the right answer. It's all about building those problem-solving skills, which are essential for any coder.
For sure. Now, before we move on, there's one more thing that I found pretty interesting in the source material. It talks about using the global keyword inside a function to modify a global variable, but then it mentions that this functionality is actually blocked in their coding environment, which they call the sandbox.
Yeah. And the reason they give is pretty insightful. They explain that global variables can be kind of dangerous, especially for beginners, because it's easy to accidentally modify them in a way that can cause like unexpected problems in your code.
It's kind of like giving a new driver the keys to a super fast car. It's tempting, but it could lead to some pretty disastrous results if you're not careful, right?
Exactly. That's a great analogy. And that's why the sandbox environment has this restriction. It's like having training wheels for new coders, giving them a safer space to experiment and learn without the risk of, completely messing up their programs.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's not that you should never use global variables, but you got to understand the potential risks and use them carefully.
Precisely. As you get more experience, you'll be better equipped to handle the extra complexity that comes with global variables. But for now, it's great that the sandbox is there to prevent those accidental oopsies.
Totally. So I'm curious, what would be a safer alternative to using global variables if you really needed to access information across different parts of your program?
Well, the tutorial hints at a concept called app custom properties, which are introduced later in the course. We won't get into the nitty-gritty details right now, but think of them as a more controlled way to store and share information globally within your app, like having designated containers for important data that are accessible from anywhere, but also managed carefully to prevent any accidental modifications.
Oh, interesting. So it's like having the best of both worlds, right? You get the accessibility of global variables, but with added safeguards to prevent any mishaps.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of coding. There are often multiple ways to solve a problem. And as you learn and grow, you'll discover new tools and techniques that can help you write more efficient, organized, and robust programs.
It's amazing how something that seems so basic on the surface, like making a circle change color, can actually lead to such a deep dive into like core coding concepts.
It really is. It shows how every single piece matters. Like every line of code, every variable, every function, it all works together to bring your ideas to life.
Right. And understanding those fundamentals, that's what gives you the power to create these really dynamic and interactive experiences.
For sure. And the cool thing is these concepts like variables and scope, they're not limited to just coding,
Yeah, they totally apply to like everyday life too.
Absolutely. Think about it. We deal with variables all the time, like when we're tracking our finances, managing our schedules, even making decisions.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And the idea of scope, knowing what information is accessible, where that's crucial for so many things like data privacy and cybersecurity.
exactly. It's like thinking about variables in code can help us understand and navigate the world around us better.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So as you continue on your coding journey, keep those bigger picture ideas in mind. It's not just about writing code. It's about understanding the power and responsibility that comes with creating and using information.
Well said. And remember, the best way to learn is by doing, experiment with the stuff we talk about today, play around with variables and functions in your own code and see what you can create.
Yeah, don't be afraid to break things, make mistakes.
Yeah.
Try different approaches. You never know what you might discover.
Exactly. You might find a whole new way to solve a problem or create something truly amazing.
That's the best part. Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of variables and functions.
Yeah, we hope you found it helpful and maybe even a little bit inspiring.
Until next time, happy coding, everyone.